All right, folks, welcome. Now, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to be delivering a speech very soon. This speech is not going to be on all of the major networks. Voice of America is even getting a lot of heat for having Mike Pompeo deliver any kind of speech. You're not going to see this on any of the big networks. You're not going to see it on CNN or on MSNBC, Fox News, and any of them. You're not going to see this anywhere else. They are completely censoring this speech. They don't want Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to speak about anything. So make sure that you guys please share the live stream. I just saw the error. I apologize. I was just trying to get this speech up as soon as I possibly could. Alright, I think it's good now. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media. Let me know if you guys got notified of this speech. If you guys got notified by YouTube. Let me know in the chat. Once again, you will not see this anywhere else right now. They're censoring this speech completely. So make sure you guys please share the live stream. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell. Thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times. Alright folks, so if you guys share the live stream on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out as a thank you for your help and your support. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and to also share the stream. This live stream is 100% ad free, so we want to give a big shout out to all the Patriots with the Trump hats next to their name in the chat. Because of you, we're able to live stream this event. This event is 100% ad free. There's no advertisements anywhere on our live streams. Our live streams are made possible by patriots just like you in the chat with the Trump hats next to the name. Also, all the patriots that help us through Super Chat, thank you so much for making this live stream possible. Alright folks, so if you just joined us right now, make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media. Once again, this is not going to be on any of the big networks. They have VOA, or Voice of America, has been getting a lot of heat from their other partners like CNN and MSNBC and NBC and all of those, CBS, all of those guys, for even hosting Mike Pompeo, for what they call giving him a platform for hate. That's what they're saying. So they're not going to pass this speech. They're just not. They're going to completely censor it. They don't want Pompeo to speak because they know Pompeo's speeches have been pretty good in the past. So who knows what he has to say about what's going on today. But don't worry, we're going to cover Pompeo completely and fairly here at Golden State Times. So make sure you guys share the live stream on social media. Nobody knows we're live. Nobody knows we're live. So make sure you guys share the live stream on social media. A lot of news has been going on throughout the last 3 days. President Trump being banned from practically every single social media site out there. Sites like Parler and Gab being banned from all over the place. Getting their servers banned, getting not being able to be on the app stores and stuff like that. And Gab believes that they can go around it by having their own servers. It's only a matter of time before they get banned from being accessed through websites. It's only a matter of time. They think that they're safe, but they're not, folks. That's not how it works. Don't forget that FBI takes down websites if they believe it's a threat. It's just a matter of time. Parler not being able to get a hosting company to take their servers, it's not going to work. Even if they do find a hosting service, they won't be able to keep their domain for too long. Parler.com is going to be taken away. It's just a matter of time. You can't get around it. It's impossible. Everything is connected, from the servers to the domains to the hosting networks to everything is all interconnected. You can't get around it. It's impossible. But let's see what Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has to say about everything that is going on. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Let's see on Twitter real quick if we have any patriots sharing the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times, where we just tell you the truth. Whether some people like it or not, all we're saying is 100% the truth. Thank you so much to Denny Active. Thank you so much also to Daniel and Kelly. Also, a big thank you to Thomas and Mel, Rebel Videos, 711 Forever, and also Mike Tom. Thank you so much, Mike Tom, for your help and your support. Make sure you guys share the live stream, folks. Make sure you share the live stream. Here at Golden State Times, there's absolutely no opinion. No opinion here at Golden State Times, because our opinion does not matter. Our opinion is irrelevant. Opinion is not news. Thank you so much to Kathy Bivens, Frank Machado, Dejuna Jupiter, thank you so much. Renee, thank you so much, Great Patriot. Jeffrey Miller and JD, thank you so much, Great Patriot, for sharing the live stream. We also want to give a big thank you to Penny Olson, Edward, and Chester Copperpot. Thank you so much, Great Patriot. We want to give a big thank you to PGA Blessed. Thank you so much, Great Patriot. Like I said, folks, our opinion here at Golden State Times does not matter. Opinion is not news. We do not do any type of opinion here at Golden State Times. The same way that you guys don't see any on-camera reporters, you don't see any pundits, you don't see any commentary, you don't see anything. You just see raw footage. That is it. Denny Active and Rain Down. Thank you so much, Great Patriot, for sharing the live stream. Dr. Red Pilled, and also Bullshift, Eye of the Design, and Kimberly Renee. Thanks so much, Great Patriot, for sharing the stream. Whispers, MCAT. Courtney, thank you so much, Courtney, Great Patriot. Summer, May, and Sherry Davis. C. Rains. Well, Mystic Joe, thanks so much, Great Patriot. Music City Digital Media Network, thanks so much, Great Patriot. Cindy Lynn, SK Justice, Laura, Resistance Strain, and also David Doyle James. Now, okay, so right now we are working on Secretary Mike Pompeo's time. And what I mean by that is when Secretary Mike Pompeo comes out, that's when he comes out. Again, all the networks are not going to be passing this speech. You're going to be watching it here live at Golden State Times. But Voice of America has been getting a lot of heat. A lot of heat from the other networks. Asking them, why are they giving Mike Pompeo a platform? Why are they giving Pompeo a place to speak? They don't want him to deliver this speech. They don't want him to be given a platform. So all of the other networks are very angry at Voice of America right now for even doing this. But let's see what Secretary Pompeo has to say. Once again, we are running on his schedule here at Golden State Times. We want to give a big shout out to all the Patriots who are sharing the live stream. It's going to take me a while to share all of these all the Patriots sharing, but let me try my best here. Let me try my best. We have Trump for Life, thank you so much, Great Patriot. Mr. Riggs, thanks so much, Great Patriot. We also have CL Holt and Teresa, thanks so much, Teresa. And we also have Antoinette, thank you so much. We also have Ellie. We have Katrina, thanks so much, Katrina, for sharing the stream. Bender, thanks so much, Bender. Ronald, thanks so much, Ronald, for sharing the live stream. We also have here Stephanie, thanks so much, Stephanie. And we also have Lincoln, and also Litcoin Lisa, President-elect Birdie. And we have Rami. We have Janet. And we also have Madeline Ross. We have Proud American sharing the live stream. Lighthouse, thanks so much, Lighthouse. Beloved Tally, thanks so much, Great Patriot. Some, thanks so much, Some. We also have Lowell. We have Angela. And we have also Stephanie Osteen, thanks so much, Great Patriot. Sweet, thanks so much, Sweet. We also have Krista sharing the live stream. We have Philip, and we have Carrie sharing the live stream on social media. Monica Henry, thanks so much, Great Patriot. 724, Best of Breed, thanks so much for your support, Great Patriot. We want to give a big thank you here to Jesse Gilmore, and also Denise, Marianne Mack, and Ethel. Thanks so much, Ethel. We want to give a big thank you to Tana Marie, a proud patriot. Natalie Joe, thanks so much, Great Patriot. And we also have Birdhouse sharing the live stream. Brooke, Truth Slayer, and N. Allen, thanks so much, Great Patriot, for sharing the stream. So it looks like Sleepy Joe just received his second dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Or the placebo, whichever one it was that he got. We want to give a big shout out to all the Patriots who are sharing the live stream on social media. All right, folks, so we do have a report here coming from the FBI. So they're saying the FBI is warning of a huge uprising. This comes courtesy of The Sun. And it says, national chaos, Trump insurrection, invoking the 25th Amendment against President Trump will cause a huge uprising and armed protests before inauguration, according to the FBI. Invoking the 25th Amendment will cause a huge uprising as armed protests are planned before inauguration, according to information obtained by the FBI. It says a bulletin obtained by ABC apparently confirms that the law enforcement agency has received reports of an armed group planning to travel to D.C. on January the 16th. Now, this is part of Parler being taken down. There was a lot of posts on there regarding January the 16th, which is one of the reasons why Amazon and others started to take down their servers, their ability to process payments. Even their domain is going to get stripped too. It's just a matter of time, like I said. As you guys know, Stripe, which is a payment processing company, they have banned the Trump campaign from processing any type of payments or donations through their networks. So President Trump is no longer being able to get donations to the Trump campaign, and also nobody's able to purchase any of the gear through their website because Stripe has taken down President Trump's campaign, their accounts. So it goes on to say that the group has reportedly warned that if Congress attempts to remove President Trump via the 25th Amendment, a huge uprising will occur, according to the FBI. The bulletin also details the armed protests that are being planned all over the country, all over 50 of the state capitals, with protests at the U.S. Capitol reportedly planned from January 17th through the 20th, according to the FBI. So that is what they're saying right now, folks, that there's going to be a huge uprising, according to the FBI. And guess who the FBI director is? Wray. Who put FBI Director Wray in office, or in his position? President Trump. President Trump's pick for the FBI is coming out and saying that there's going to be a huge uprising. So let's see what happens. As you guys know, President Trump, earlier today, the House tried to pass the 25th Amendment, or trying to pressure Vice President Mike Pence over the 25th Amendment, and it got blocked. President Trump's impeachment is going through the House. As of right now, in a pro forma status, it got blocked. So let's see what happens. They're going to continue to try to impeach President Trump in the last few days before the inauguration. So let's see what happens with that. So we also have some other breaking news here before Secretary of State Mike Pompeo comes out. And it says, New York State Bar Association launches historic inquiry into removing Rudy Giuliani from its membership. You guys heard it right, folks. This comes courtesy of nysba.org. And it says that the New York State Bar strongly condemned the violent uprising that occurred on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, orchestrated by individuals bent on subverting the will of the American people by disrupting the certification of the 2020 presidential election. It says, Congress overcame the assault and fulfilled their constitutional responsibility in certifying the victory for Biden. So it says, however, we must address the root cause of the incident. The blame for which it lies, first and foremost, is on the president, according to this report. It says, but the president did not act alone. Hours before the angry mob stormed the Capitol walls, Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, addressed a crowd of thousands at the White House, or in front of the White House, reiterating basically baseless claims of widespread election fraud in the presidential election in Georgia and also in the U.S. Senate runoffs in Georgia. So it says that the NYSBA has received hundreds of complaints in recent months about Mr. Giuliani and his baseless efforts on behalf of President Trump to cast doubt in the veracity of the 2020 presidential election, and after the votes were cast, to overturn legitimate results. As widely reported, these efforts included the commencement of prosecution of court actions in multiple states without any evidence whatsoever, in which every instance these actions were appropriately dismissed by the courts. So now they're saying that since he put up a whole bunch of lawsuits without any evidence, that goes against what they stand for, and now they want to disbar Rudy Giuliani. It says, at the nation's largely voluntary state bar association, NYSBA, has to act responsibly to defend and protect the rule of law. Based on these complaints and the statement Mr. Giuliani uttered shortly before the attack at the Capitol, NYSBA President Scott M. Carson has launched an inquiry pursuant to the association's bylaw to determine whether Mr. Giuliani should be removed from the membership rolls of the association. So this is just the beginning. He's going to get completely disbarred. He's going to not be able to practice law anymore. It's just a matter of time. Again, it's just a matter of time. Rudy Giuliani is not going to be able to practice law in the very near future. That is their plan, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Like I said, it's only a matter of time. Right, folks, so we have another headline here. This comes courtesy of Politico, and it says, Parler hits Amazon with antitrust suit over shutdown. It says, Parler asked for an emergency order to reject Amazon's shutdown of its account, pretty much their servers, saying it was equivalent to pulling the plug on a hospital patient on life support. Wow, that's a very loaded comment. They're saying, Parler is saying that Amazon taking away their servers, something that Parler was renting from Amazon, is like pulling the plug on a hospital patient on life support. Well, they really think a lot of themselves, don't they? Parler hit back against Amazon on Monday, filing a lawsuit accusing the tech giant of violating antitrust laws by cutting off the conservative-friendly social media site's presence from the web. Because they don't have their own servers, nor would they able to have their own servers, because a site with, if they do have the amount of traffic they say they do, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money for them to get their own servers. But now, Parler is suing Amazon over antitrust violations. This is in a complaint filed in the Federal Court of Washington State. Parler said Amazon's decision was motivated by political animus and designed to reduce competition to the benefit of Twitter, which is also a customer of the online retailer Amazon Web Services division. So Twitter's servers are owned by Amazon. Again, everything is interconnected. If one of those social media sites like Parler or Gab believe that they can get their own servers and continue operation, they are wrong. They are 100% wrong. They can't. Because who owns the domain name? Remember, Gab's domain, gab.ai, got taken away. So what did they do? They had to go and get gab.com somehow. But even gab.com is going to get taken away. Parler.com is going to get taken away. If they change it to parler.live or parler.whatever, it's going to get taken away. Even if they get their own servers, it's still not going to work. Because once Biden comes in, they're going to use the FBI to take it down. Just like they take down websites from the dark web over violations of any kind, whether it be drugs or paraphernalia or whatever, they're going to do the exact same thing to Parler. They're going to do the exact same thing to Gab. It's just a matter of time. They can't do anything. They're done. Parler is 100% done. Gab.com is 100% done. They can't not survive. In one way or another, they're going to take them down. Having their own servers means absolutely nothing. It says Parler asked for an emergency order to reject Amazon's shutdown of its account, saying it was the equivalent to pulling the plug on a hospital patient on life support. It says Amazon will kill Parler's business. At the very time, it was set to skyrocket. So the other thing that happened with Parler, and this is why I'm saying that they're doomed, is because the lawyers of Parler, all of the other businesses that were working with Parler and Amazon, which owned the servers, they all cut them off at the exact same time. So I don't know what lawyer they end up getting to try to sue Amazon, but this is going nowhere. It's going to get rejected. It's only a matter of time. It's just going to get rejected. They're going to toss this lawsuit out faster than they banned them from the App Store. It's just not feasible. It's not going to work. Again, we're waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, folks. We're waiting for Mike Pompeo. All right, folks. So if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, make sure you follow me right now, because Secretary Mike Pompeo is delivering some pretty heated tweets. So Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, which is said to deliver a speech very soon, that's if VOA doesn't cancel it before he even comes to the venue. He said, "What happens when China takes over the UN agency? Let's talk about the WHO and the catastrophic failure of that agency to deal with coronavirus, just as they failed to deal with SARS. China lied, millions died." So that is what Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just said on Twitter. So like I said, follow me on Twitter so you guys can see what he's saying. So Secretary Mike Pompeo also said, "We led a global effort to ensure the WIPO had a strong leader, Darren Tang from Singapore, who would protect the IPR, not those who steal it." Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also said on Twitter the World Intellectual Property Organization already needed reforming. Then China tried to jam in its CCP policies. It says, yes, the same China that steals our technology. And Mike Pompeo said China's rampant theft of intellectual property is real.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way.
All right, folks, so we do have some news here. Give me 1 second.
Where we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Here we go. All right, so Talk Radio Network, Cumulus Media, told Dan Baloney, what's his name? Dan Baloney? That weird guy that supposedly owns part of Parler, whatever his name is. He's not important enough to remember his name. They told him to tone down election fraud rhetoric or you're fired. So radio giant Cumulus Media, which employs many of the biggest right-wing talk radio hosts in America, has warned their on-air personalities that they need to immediately stop peddling baseless claims of the election or they will be taken off the air. And they said, quote, we need to help we need to help calm everything down now. So that's what Cumulus executive president said in a statement. Phillips added that the company will not tolerate any suggestion that the election has not ended. The election has been resolved and there is no alternate acceptable paths. So they want to make sure that people are saying that the election is done, completed, done and ready. That's it. And if anybody else says it, if anybody else says that the election is not done, they're going to get fired. And we're talking about Mark Levin, Dan Baloney, and other Fox News contributors. I think Hannity also has a radio show through them. So Hannity is also, I believe Hannity, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that that Hannity has a radio show with them too. But definitely they told it to Mark Levin and Dan Baloney, or Bononi, or whatever his name. It doesn't really matter what his name is. He's not important. But Mark Levin, if he doesn't stop talking about Trump, and if he doesn't stop talking about the election, they're going to cut him off. And it's funny to see Dan Baloney going crazy on Fox News. By the way, Fox News is now number 10 in ratings. Number 10. Sean Hannity, number 10. Tucker Carlson, number 11. And others, right after that. But it's funny to see this guy going crazy on Fox News, a network where nobody's watching anymore because of the same thing. They were no different than CNN. They were no different than than CBS and ABC and all of those. They were no different. They were all the exact same. Everything on TV is exactly the same. Nothing is different. Fox is no exception. Fox was just CNN 2.0. That's all they were. That's all they ever were. CNN 2.0. If you just joined us right now, folks, we're waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Right now, he's active on Twitter. He is saying all kinds of stuff on Twitter right now. So we're waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to deliver his speech at Voice of America in Washington, D.C. If you're new to the channel and you want to know who we are the most hated news network by the right and the left. Both sides hate us with a passion, and we wear it like a badge of honor. We love it. We love it that right-leaning networks hate us. We love it that left-leaning networks hate us. We're the most hated by both conservatives and the liberals and the crazies. Hated by everybody, and we love it. We cover the White House, Congress, State Department, and everything else in between. Fairly and completely here at Golden State Times. There's no opinion when it comes to what's going on, like Mike Pompeo's speech. There's no opinion to that. He's going to be delivering his speech. We're going to, stream it live completely. And then he goes away, and then we shut it down and we move on. There's no commentary, there's no on-camera reporters, there's no bobbleheads, no airheads, no nothing. No commentators, no pundits, no on-camera quote-unquote reporters. None of that stuff here at Golden State Times. All there is raw footage, and we move on. So if that's the type of network that you're looking for, make sure you subscribe and click that bell. Again, we are the most hated news network by quote-unquote conservative media and also liberal media. And we love it. So if you're wondering, why is it that you're hated by the liberal media, by the left-leaning media, by the radical media, It is because we cover President Trump fairly and completely. That is the reason why they don't like us. Because we cover him without any spin, without anything. Like I said, no commentary, no opinion, no nothing. We just raw footage, and that is it. Now, why are we hated by the right-leaning media, by the quote-unquote conservative media? Honestly, we have no idea. I don't know what the hell we did to them, but it doesn't really matter. Because we're actually happy they hate us. We don't need them. They don't like us, and that is okay. Because we don't need them. And we're happy that you guys are here. And that is what's important, not them. If they like us or don't like us, who cares? As long as you guys like us, as long as you guys tune in to see raw footage, we are more than happy. If we're hated by both sides, then so be it. But you are here, and that's important, and that's all we care about. So, Secretary Mike Pompeo should be coming out very soon. All right, folks. So we're trying to get more information on when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to be coming out. We're trying to get us information as fast as possible, folks. Trust me, we're trying to get information. But one thing that we do know is that none of the fake news media is going to be covering this because they're very angry at Voice of America. They're extremely angry at Voice of America because what they're saying is that they're giving Mike Pompeo a platform. They don't want Mike Pompeo to deliver this speech. They do not want him to deliver this speech at all. So they're very angry at Voice of America. But let's see what happens. We're trying to get as much information as we possibly can to see when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to be delivering his speech. I'm trying to get any updates from my contacts here. Give me 1 second. I think I got an update. Give me 1 second. Alright, I apologize for that. I clicked the wrong thing. But please share the live stream on social media, like I said. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button. We're trying to get more information here. Just so you guys know, President Trump today will award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Jim Jordan. So Jim Jordan's going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Trump today at the White House. According to the White House, quote, "He is an inspiration to freedom-loving Americans everywhere and has distinguished himself as one of the most consequential members of Congress of his generation." So we do have an update from Washington, D.C., and it says, by Saturday, the National Guard says it will boost its number of troops in Washington, D.C. to at least 10,000. 10,000 National Guard troops will be in D.C. in preparation for the Biden inauguration. 10,000. 100,000 troops, folks. And it looks like the U.S. Treasury is going against 7 individuals and 4 entities that are part of the Russia-linked foreign influence network associated with Andriy Darkich for the attempt to influence the 2020 election. So that's also election news from the Secretary of State. So the Secretary of State is releasing a lot of information right before this speech. Right before this speech, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, is releasing a lot of information on China, on Russia, on a whole bunch of stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned, because I believe that this is going to be one of the most important speeches that we're going to have all week. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media and share this video, folks, all over the place. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. In other news here, it says, this comes from Ron Paul. It says, with no explanation other than repeatedly going against the community standards, Facebook has blocked me from managing my page. Never have we received a notice of violation of any type of community standards in the past, and nowhere is the offending post identified. So Ron Paul has his Facebook account pretty much blocked. Ron Paul says the only thing we posted to Facebook today was the weekly Texas Straight Talk column, which I have published every week since 1976. So Ron Paul's Facebook has been limited by Facebook. Alright folks, so it looks like President Trump has already awarded Representative Jim Jordan the Medal of Freedom. So it says President Trump on Monday awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Representative Jim Jordan, the Republican from Ohio who has served as a high-profile congressional defender of the president throughout his presidency. This is in a statement from the White House. It has credited Jordan as his efforts to fight back against the Democrat-led impeachment effort against President Trump last year that ended without a conviction in the Senate. So Jim Jordan has gotten the Presidential Medal of Freedom already. As we reported just a few minutes ago that he was going to receive it, it looks like he already did. All right, folks, so we have some breaking news here. The U.S. House, or the House of Representatives, will meet Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. to consider articles of impeachment against Trump. House Majority Leader Hoyer announces that the House Democrat caucus calls for President Trump's impeachment. Once again, it will begin Wednesday at 9 a.m. Wednesday at 9 a.m., folks. Articles of impeachment against President Trump for the incitement of insurrection. So that is what they're going to be impeaching him for. Incitement of insurrection. Starting Wednesday at 9 a.m. Wednesday at 9 a.m. Let's see what happens. We would like to give a big shout out to all the Patriots who are following us on Twitter at Gold State Times. Don't worry, folks, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere on Twitter, so make sure you guys follow us at Gold State Times. Thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and you click that bell as we keep waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, but don't worry, he's coming, folks. He's coming. If the last 4 years hasn't been any indication that the Trump campaign or the Trump, the Trump administration has no such thing as schedules, they come in and out whenever they feel like it. They say it starts at one time and then they're 3 hours late and they don't care. They just come whenever they feel like it. So we're waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to deliver his speech at Voice of America in Washington, D.C. Should start soon. Thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times. But they start whenever they feel like it. There's no schedules, there's no time limits, there's no time frames, there's no nothing. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media. All right, folks. So we just had a wonderful Patriot give us a call and told us, turn down the music. We can't hear what the announcer is saying. So thank you so much, great Patriot, for giving us the feedback. We love that. And thank you so much for calling in. I don't know how you got my number, but thank you so much for calling in and letting me know that the music was too loud. Thank you so much, great Patriot. If you did not get the updates that we just gave right now, Secretary Mike Pompeo should be coming out very soon. That's the way it is with the Trump administration. There is no time limits, time frames, nothing. No, they don't stick to schedules. Is what I'm trying to say. None of the people from the Trump campaign, or the Trump administration, I'm sorry, I keep saying campaign. The Trump administration do not stick with schedules at all. They say they're going to speak at a certain time. They come whenever they please. So we're still waiting for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Other things that we have updated Patriots right now is that the articles of impeachment against President Trump is over insurrection, and that is going to happen on Wednesday at 9 a.m. So the House is going to impeach or try to impeach President Trump on Wednesday at 9 a.m. at the House. Mitch McConnell already said that once it reaches the Senate, it's going to be DOA. He says it's not going to happen in the Senate. That is what Mitch McConnell said, but let's see what happens. So we're sharing a tweet right now, so make sure you follow us on Twitter. Vice President Mike Pence has been spotted arriving at the White House just before the start of a closed press White House coronavirus task force meeting. And Mark Short has also been spotted. So Vice President Mike Pence has arrived at the White House for a coronavirus task force meeting with his chief of staff, Mark Short. So make sure that you guys tune in here at Golden State Times for updates from that coronavirus task force meeting. So more senators are adding their names to a petition saying that Cruz and Hawley should resign from the Senate because they were part of the push for the mob to storm the Capitol building, according to a bunch of these senators. So there's more senators that are joining and adding their name in a push to kick out Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, and Hawley from the Senate. So let's see what happens with that.
Now of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks. So this is extremely. Okay. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. I don't know if this got hacked or if it's actually real. State.gov. Okay. / All right, I need to show you guys this. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I got it right. If not, I'm going to have to... Hold on 1 second, folks. Hold on 1 second here. Give me one. I don't want to retweet this garbage account, but I have to because it's the only way I can get the link. Give me 1 second, folks. I want to show you guys something. All right, so let me turn off the music because I don't know how many of you guys are on this stream right now, but you guys really need to see this. All right, check this out, folks. Check this out. This is some crazy stuff. Let me see if I can get this. All right. Look at this. I'm going to take off the thing. All right, so this is on the actual Department of State website, the official website of the United States government, as you guys can see. Now, look at this. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, January 20th, 2017 to present. But now, look at the bottom. Donald J. Trump's term ended on 1/11/2021 at 19:40 with 41 seconds. That is today. That is today. Again, this is on an official Department of State website. State.gov/biographies/Donald J. Trump. That is on an official website, folks. Now, I don't know if it got hacked. I don't know if it got hacked or what is going on. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat so you guys can go see it for yourselves. Once again, it is official. It is on the official website. This is breaking news right now, folks. Let me put the link to it in the chat. Again, it's on the official website for the State Department. I just put the link to it in the chat. It's at the very top. It's pinned to the very top. Go and check it out yourself. If you think I'm lying, go and check it out for yourself. It is on the State Department, the state.gov website. Go and check it out for yourself. And I don't know if it's been hacked. I have no idea. I'm gonna check it right now. I'm gonna email my sources right now to see if it was hacked. Most likely it was hacked. But as you guys can see, Donald J. Trump's term ended on 1/11/2021 at 1940. 1940. That's 6 p.m. At 6:40 p.m. What is that all about? If anybody has any information, let me know if it was hacked. A lot of people are asking if it was hacked. There's no updates as of right now. If the State Department has been hacked, there's no updates as of right now. But let me know, do you think that the State Department has been hacked? Or what is this Donald J. Trump term ended on 1/11/2021? What is this all about? Let me know in the chat. Again, this is on an official government website, Department of State. The link is in the chat. Go and check it out for yourselves. And let me know if it was hacked. Again, the link to this that I'm showing you right now is in the chat at the very top. It's pinned to the very top. Just click on the blue pinned post and you can go and check it out for yourself. Go and check it out, folks. Thank you so much to all the Patriots who have been helping us through Super Chat and also through membership. As you guys can see, this live stream has absolutely no ads. There's no ads anywhere on this live stream. This live stream is powered by the Patriots. It is powered by you, the American people, and Patriots from all over the world that is tuning in. So thank you so much for your help and your support. Thank you so much for being awesome and for helping Golden State Times stay on the air through Super Chat and through membership.
Conversation, presented in Voice of America headquarters by Mike Pompeo, U.S. Secretary of State. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming USAGM CEO Michael Pack.
Here we go, folks. Please share the live stream on social media. Click the thumbs up button and subscribe. Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to everyone joining us live, both in person and virtually all over the world. I am Michael Pack, the Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which is the federal government entity that manages and oversees U.S. civilian international broadcasting. Now, unfortunately, as many of you abroad know all too well, there are regimes bent on preventing people from accessing objective news and information. To keep power, they manufacture and propagate false realities, seeking to control thought and belief and ultimately action. Let me be clear. This behavior is an affront to the universal right of freedom of expression, a right to which every single person is entitled by virtue of being a human being. America has never stood for this form of malevolence, and our nation must now confront it even more vigorously. Indeed, as the adversaries of liberty and democracy double down on producing and distributing disinformation, America must reassert itself in the new global war of ideas. To do that, we need to more robustly promote and explain our principles to the world. Fortunately, since 1942, we have had an excellent platform to do exactly that. That platform, of course, is Voice of America. Today, here at the headquarters of Voice of America in Washington, D.C., we are tremendously honored to host this very special event featuring the 70th U.S. Secretary of State, Michael R. Pompeo. To further introduce the Secretary, I'd like to turn the podium over to the Director of the Voice of America, Robert R. Riley. Thank you, and please enjoy the event.
Thank you, Michael, and for your unstinting support. It's greatly appreciated. Welcome, everyone. I want to begin by thanking a few people who worked so hard to make this event a success. I begin with Eduardo Kaczkowski, who's the Director of Studio and Production Operations here at VOA, and his very hardworking team who, under the added difficulties of the COVID restrictions, worked so hard to get this job done. I want to thank John Lippman, the Deputy Programming Director, with his daily meetings for shepherding this all through and pulling it together, and most especially the Deputy VOA Director, Beth Robbins, for all the hard work she has done. Now, it's a pleasure to introduce a man who needs no introduction. I think I can do it with two words. They are Renaissance man. Why? Well, briefly, at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, first in his class. A career Army officer, armor officer in West Germany. In an armored cavalry unit, he helped protect Western Europe against what Ronald Reagan had called the evil empire. Now, Ronald Reagan was known for saying some other things. He was very fond of saying there's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. It's been a long time since we've had horse cavalry, but with a little twisted emphasis on what he said, I've heard that the Secretary is occasionally heard to say, life is always better in an M1 tank. Well, after his military career, Mr. Pompeo went on to Harvard Law School, where he excelled with the Harvard Law Review. After law school, he went to Kansas and began a successful business career. He founded Thayer Aerospace, where he served as CEO for more than a decade. He later became president of Century International. From thence, he ran for Congress successfully in the 4th District of Kansas. And even as a freshman congressman, he had an outsized influence due to the depth of his knowledge on foreign policy and intelligence issues and his powers of persuasion. He was in his 4th term when the president called upon him to take upon himself the role of the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. And then in 2018, he was sworn in as the Secretary of State. Now, he's done all this while still being, at least from my perspective, still a young man. So we can expect much more from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I am so grateful for his honoring VOA with his presence today. Secretary Pompeo.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. Michael, thanks for your leadership of this incredibly important institution. And Bob, congratulations on returning to the helm of VOA. I am truly happy to be here. I'm honored to have been requested. And it's always fun to be with a fellow tanker, too. I want to acknowledge the other network chiefs who is with us today. Steve Yates of Radio Free Asia. Steve, where are you at? Nice to see you. And a note of appreciation, too, to the Voice of American Journalist staff and to all those watching and listening. I've sat down for interviews with many of you in the far corners of the world. They have always been a joy. And speaking of which, too, I understand that this speech is being broadcast on TV, radio, on your website, social media, in more than 40 languages. Hats off to the translators. I have no idea how anyone can translate my talking into Uzbek this quickly. That guy or gal deserves a bonus. It's great to have this opportunity. I've been following the work of Voice of America for decades. And as Bob just mentioned, I started my career as an Army officer, patrolling the Iron Curtain, freedom's frontier. In the 1980s, I couldn't cross into East Germany. I was serving in a little town called Binlock. West Germans couldn't cross either. But your broadcast, Voice of America broadcast, could. Millions of men and women whose names we'll never know listen to you, often at their own peril. Their governments dealt only in lies and propaganda, but VOA's listeners wanted the truth, and that's what you gave them. VOA's very first broadcast in 1942 that Bob referred to began with the Battle Hymn of the Republic, along with this pledge, quote, "The news may be good, the news may be bad, but we'll tell you the truth." I love that. I always told my son, I told the story before when he was growing up, I said, work hard, keep your faith, and tell the truth. He mostly followed my advice. And it has served him and many of you I know well. Your mandate here at Voice of America is unambiguous: to be accurate, objective, and comprehensive, and to represent America. The mission of USAGM is to inform, engage, and connect people around the world in support of freedom and democracy. That's because expanding freedom and democracy are what America has always been about. You're the voice of American exceptionalism. We should be proud of that. The world needs VOA's clarion call for freedom. Now more than ever, I hear it wherever I go. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I tell audiences about American exceptionalism wherever and whenever I can, because it's true and because it's important. America is good and great, and everyone who truly grabs our founding understands this. Michael and Bob have made studying this history their life's work. Many of you have made it your life's mission too. That's why you work here at Voice of America. We were indeed the first nation founded on the central belief that all human beings are endowed with certain unalienable rights, and the governments are instituted to secure those God-given rights. We have always striven for a more perfect union. And goodness knows we don't always get it right. Therefore, we need both pride and humility about our past and our present. We need the truth. But it's very clear that when Americans have united around our founding values, be it in Philadelphia, at Gettysburg, at Seneca Falls, or during Martin Luther King's March on Washington, we've made good on our founding promise time and time again. Now, our adversaries try and claim otherwise. When the Chinese Communist Party attempted to exploit the tragic death of George Floyd to claim their authoritarian system was somehow superior to ours, I issued a statement which read in part, quote, "During the best of times, the People's Republic of China ruthlessly imposes communism. But amid the most difficult challenge, the United States secures freedom. There is no moral equivalence. This is a self-evident truth. It is not fake news for you to broadcast that this is the greatest nation in the history of the world and the greatest nation that civilization has ever known. Indeed, I'm not saying this to ignore our faults. Indeed, just the opposite. It is to acknowledge them. But this isn't the vice of America, focusing on everything that's wrong with our great nation. It's the voice of America. It certainly isn't the place to give authoritarian regimes in Beijing or Tehran a platform. Your mission is to promote democracy, freedom, and American values all across the world. It's a U.S. taxpayer-funded institution aimed squarely at that. Indeed, this is what sets VOA apart from MSNBC and Fox News and the like. You can give voice to the voiceless in dark corners of the world. You're the voice of American striving. You're the voice of American exceptionalism. You are indeed the tip of freedom's spear. Now look, like many government agencies after the Cold War ended, our international broadcasters, well, they lost their way. Many of you know this. And there were, I'm sure, many reasons. The Soviet Union had collapsed, the wall had come down, names like bin Laden and Zarqawi and Baghdadi weren't widely known. In fact, many wrote that history was over. We allowed security protocols to lapse, and VOA lost its commitment to its founding mission. Its broadcasts had become less about telling the truth about America and too often about demeaning America. In 2013, one of my predecessors described the Broadcasting Board of Governors as, quote, practically defunct, end of quote. Look, that's in part why Congress created the role of CEO of the US AGM on a bipartisan basis. And it is again why I'm here today. I read that some VOA employees didn't want me to speak here today. I'm sure it was only a handful. They didn't want the voice of American diplomacy to be broadcast on the Voice of America. Think about that for just a moment. Look, we're all part of institutions with duties and responsibilities higher and bigger and more important than any one of us individually. But this kind of censorial instinct is dangerous. It's morally wrong. Indeed, it's against your statutory mandate here at VOA. Censorship, wokeness, political correctness, it all points in one direction: authoritarianism cloaked as moral righteousness. It's similar to what we're seeing at Twitter and Facebook and Apple and on too many university campuses today. It's not who we are. It's not who we are as Americans. And it's not what Voice of America should be. It's time that we simply put wokeism to sleep. And you can lead the way. You all know. That's why you came here. There's a new dawn here at Voice of America. The American public doesn't know this, but when Michael took office, some 1,500 employees, almost 40% of the workforce, had been improperly vetted, including many with high-level security clearances. VOA was rubber stamping J-1 visas for foreign nationals, including some from communist China. We shouldn't be doing that. We have plenty of Mandarin language speakers here in America, and we are building, growing, teaching, educating more committed patriots, some of Chinese American descent who are amazing people. The Trump administration team is working to fix these national security threats. We want to vet employees properly. We want to reorient VOA to its mission of truth and unbiased reporting. We want to depoliticize what takes place here. It's too important for the American people and for the world. Returning this organization to its charter and its charge to spread the message of freedom, democracy, and American exceptionalism. This isn't about politicizing these institutions. We're trying to take politics out. And that's a pretty good feature story for whoever wants to write it up. As Secretary of State, I'm telling you all of this because I want the best for the people here and for this organization, because you are vital to helping America shine light into the darkest places with the power that only America can muster. Governments like those in China, Iran, North Korea, they don't have the respect for the universal dignity of every human being in the way that America does. Indeed, that is what America was founded upon. Those regimes are anathema to everything that our nation stands for. We know that government exists to serve people. They believe that people exist to serve government. And VOA's work is vital. As I said before, you're the tip of freedom's spear. Every week, 278 million people listen to VOA in 47 languages. There are Iranians who are listening to you, wondering if they'll ever be able to shed their Islamic shackles. There are Moldovans and Ukrainians who want truthful reporting, not Russian disinformation and propaganda. There are Chinese citizens who are tired of a regime that's done nothing but brutalize them since 1949. There are Venezuelans who want to know the truth of the Maduro regime's corruption. There are oppressed people all over the globe who still turn to America for hope. Now, I know many of you, especially those of you overseas, continue and have done heroic work. Thank you. I want to commend VOA's Hong Kong reporting team, which faced political intimidation, harassment, and attacks, but still got the job done. My highest praise. Well done. You were behind the barricades of the freedom fighters telling their stories. You're upholding VOA's finest traditions and continuing to be the voice of American exceptionalism. I also want to pay tribute to members of the other radio services who are here and listening. The only Uyghur language news service in the world is run by RFA. You've told everyone who will listen, indeed some who didn't want to, the truth about the CCP's atrocities against its own people in Xinjiang, the stain of the century. And you've done so despite the fact that the CCP has jailed the relatives of at least 6 RFA journalists in Xinjiang's internment camps and continues to threaten you and your families simply for doing your jobs. Your work takes courage. Please keep telling everyone who will listen what's happening in the toughest parts of the world. The world expects it, and America will be better off for it. I want to leave you with a quote that conveys why the VOA's mission is so critical before I take some questions from Bob. This quote's from a ways back. It's from George Washington. He said, quote, "Truth will ultimately prevail where there is pains to bring it to light," end of quote. When America brings truth to the world, we bring light. Don't forget that. It's what you do. May God bless you. May God bless the voice of America, and God bless these United States. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Some of the questions I have for you were fielded from our division directors who wanted to also have their input to get you to answer some of these. But let me begin with this one. This isn't a commercial media. We can afford to tell the full truth about America and the amplitude of American life in all of its facets. In your many travels in your recent years, what would you judge as those parts of America that are least known by foreign audiences that we need to tell them about?
Yeah. You know, it's a really good question. If I have a chance in a moment where we are away from the formal business of the day, I'll often ask ambassadors or foreign ministers, when were you last in the States? What'd you do? Where'd you go see? The answer is almost always, I went to New York, I went to Washington, I went to San Francisco, or I went to Los Angeles. The adventuresome may have traveled all the way to Boston. Boy, that's not representative of all of who America is. I'm from Kansas. It's a different place in so many ways. It's engaged in different businesses. Its government is different. Its people think about the world in a different way. These stories from places other than the coasts are important. And that That extends to rural parts of South Carolina, to Appalachia, to folks who live up in Minnesota and along our northern border along Canada. There are so many different facets of the United States that I think if you asked people around the world, they would only know this place we are here in Washington, or maybe our financial center in New York. I hope that you all get a chance to tell those other stories. And I'd add one last piece. It's not just geographic. It's not just where it is. You could find right here in Washington dozens and dozens of different stories about different pieces of the things, the institutions that make America so unique, so special. These things that our founders called the small platoons, our civic organizations, right? How many of you are members of the PTA, trying to help your kids' school be just a little bit better? How many of you participate in a church group on Wednesday evenings where you have your chili feed or you just gather? Those are important parts of American life that have made us so unique and so special, and I want people all across the world to see those things, because those institutions form bedrock of our nation, and they can help their countries too.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. You've made some very eloquent speeches about the relationship between American founding principles and U.S. foreign policy. How would you prioritize those fundamental rights, some of which you referred to in your remarks, when you, with the limited time with foreign heads of state, want to have a clear message? You've been very forthright on freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of... How do you prioritize those, or is the prioritization custom made for the country you're addressing?
Bob, it certainly does vary by where you are and the situation that you find that government, and frankly the traditions of that country. The Unalienable Rights Commission, led by Professor Marion Glendon and Peter Berkowitz at the State Department, it's a great report. It's 50 pages. I'd urge you to go read it. You'll agree with some of it, some you may not. But what it tried to do was to take this human rights project from the 20th century that has just fallen away. It lost its capacity to understand the things that were contained in our founding about how human rights are formed. It had moved away even from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And what I wanted to do in that was to reground American foreign policy and how we thought about human rights. And I think the report captures it pretty well. Your point about religious freedom and the capacity to speak freely, two core rights that if a nation gets it wrong, it will be less secure, it will be less prosperous, its people will be less whole. And so we've spent a lot of time talking about those issues around the world. We've made progress in certain places, other places we've not, but it's important that American leaders, not only the Secretary of State, but all of us, acknowledge those shortcomings when we speak with foreign leaders and get them headed in a better direction for their people. I'm proud of the work we've done in this regard. These principles matter. Their execution and implementation is complex because foreign policy always is. There are competing priorities. But America can never walk away from those central principles and understandings. And we know the difference between rights-respecting countries and those that aren't. And we have an obligation to call each of them precisely what they are.
Now, as you well know, we're at the cusp of a change in administrations. On certain foreign policy issues, there seems to have formed a bipartisan consensus. For instance, perhaps China, on both sides of the aisle, is seen as the principal challenge to the United States today. Are there others? North Korea, Venezuela, Iran? On which of these do you expect some continuity with the new administration, and where do you perhaps see what may come as the biggest changes?
Look, it's an important question. Leaders always want to understand that when you make a commitment to them that it will survive. We have elections every 2 years here, federal elections. We have presidential elections every 4 years. Look, your point about the threat from the Chinese Communist Party, I think, is right. President Trump rightly identified this when he started campaigning back in 2015 as the singular threat to the centrality of Western thought in the world, the idea that we're going to have a rules-based system that respected property rights and human dignity. China is singular in the threat it poses to those things. And I do think there's a consensus there. I've worked with Democrats on many important issues in Hong Kong and issues, as I referred to the Uyghurs in Xinjiang and the atrocities taking place there. So I do hope that stays the same. I hope, too, even in the Middle East, even where the previous administration had a different approach with respect to the Islamic Republic of Iran, it's not 2015. What has taken place in the Middle East in these last 4 years, whether that's the efforts we have put to constrain the theocracy, the kleptocrats in charge in Iran, the work we have done with the Abraham Accords, the work that we've done to recognize the fundamental understandings of Israel as a nation that has a right to exist, and its capital is in Jerusalem. It is the home of the Jewish people there. Those are things that I believe will be lasting, because I think the people of those nations want them to last, and I hope that the next administration will continue to build on them in a way that continues to build out peace and prosperity among all the nations in the Middle East. I'm hopeful that that will take place.
I noticed over the weekend you signed a joint declaration with 4 other foreign ministers, Australia, UK, New Zealand, regarding the recent arrests in Hong Kong. You also removed the restraints on high-level diplomatic contacts between the United States and Taiwan, and apparently the U.S. ambassador to the UN will be in Taiwan soon. What do you expect to accomplish with this flurry?
Yeah, well, flurry, I find funny.
I should have chosen another
yes,
word.
But no, I get it. Look, I wish these things had been done a long time ago. These weren't rushed. These were considered efforts that we made, and they're an important part of the strategy that we've laid out with respect to how to protect and preserve American freedoms vis the challenge that the Chinese Communist Party presents. Look, one of the core problems, I gave some remarks where I talked about China and said, no matter what it is they say, we must distrust and verify. And you referred to the arrest of these some 50 people in Hong Kong. The Chinese Communist Party made a promise to the people of Hong Kong, and they walked away from it. The Chinese Communist Party has a commitment, a set of understandings we have with respect to Taiwan. We need to hold the parties accountable to those commitments as well. The Chinese Communist Party promised President Obama they wouldn't arm the islands in the South China Sea, and they turned around and did it, and there was almost no cost imposed. We have attempted to deliver a clear understanding of the requirements that we have for the Chinese Communist Party and how it should behave, that aren't, frankly, very different from what we expect of any nation with respect to how they interact with the United States. And we do that because we have a responsibility to preserve and protect security and prosperity for the American people. Our policy with respect to the Chinese Communist Party has furthered that, and this will be a long challenge. The Chinese Communist Party has a clear intent for hegemonic dominance, and we have an obligation, a responsibility to the American people and, frankly, to freedom-loving people around the world to make sure that that is not the world that our children and grandchildren live in.
It's interesting in meeting with the division directors of Voice of America how frequently in those meetings the name of China comes up. When I ask them what's on the horizon, what are you noticing, it's China. Latin America, China. East Africa, China. And it's not simply the Belt and Road Initiative, it's their information strategy, how they get affiliates in those regions of the world, how they feed them free stuff, and they're, as you know, a whole of government approach. Now, the United States isn't whole of government, but Voice of America is here to do our part through our bureaus and through our reporting. What do you think we can do better to help highlight the dangers these things represent when seen together rather than as a separate series of approaches?
Well, this challenge is, in fact, comprehensive. Our administration began by working on the economic side of this. Right? The president placed tariffs on Chinese goods. He's tried to stop intellectual property theft, denying tens of millions of jobs in the United States of America because they would steal our information, take it back to China, build it, and then dump it here in the United States. It's information. You talked about that. This is ongoing. Take the issue of the Wuhan virus. It has now, I understand the Chinese Communist Party is now going to permit the World Health Organization to go in and find out where this all began, but it took months and months of effort to do that. We are now more than a year on. we still don't have access to important information about how the virus began. It's important for health and safety and to make sure that something like this doesn't come out of China again. Your team can report these things, report these facts. Your point about it being a global phenomenon. I have a bureau. I have a China desk. I have a East Asia Pacific bureau. We have an Indo-Pacific strategy. But every one of my ambassadors and chiefs of mission understands that China presents a challenge in their country, wherever they may be, in Africa, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia for sure. And our team on the ground is working to protect American security from the Chinese Communist Party in the country that they have been assigned to. I hope your reporters, no matter where they find themselves, if they are in South Africa or in Morocco or wherever they are, observes the activities of the Chinese Communist Party inside of their country and how it impacts the people of those countries as well.
If I may ask a last question, this one more related to Russia. The United States seems to be shrinking its footprint in Africa, so is France. Russia is increasing its. Is this the result of a judgment on the part of the United States that disorder on the African continent is less of a problem or less of a threat to our interests, or how would you?
So the forces, the disposition that the DoD has made has really been about the counterterrorism fight more broadly. How is it that we allocate U.S. resources to keep the homeland safe? So the decisions the president has made with respect to Afghanistan and the Middle East broadly, Syria, you talk about North Africa as well, has been to allocate the capacity of the United States to preserve and protect the homeland. I'm always mindful, and it's easy to write about, if you just focus on troop numbers alone, if you say the United States used to have 1,000 people, now they only have 800, or they used to have 800, now they only have 400, you may well be missing America's capacity to preserve and protect itself. I was the director of the CIA. I know the other tools and capabilities that we can bring. They are unseen. They don't get reported from the podium at the Department of Defense. But the American people should know. President Trump has been unambiguous about getting it right, making sure we put fewer of our young men and women in harm's way, but never giving up the responsibility we have to ensure that terrorism, or at least the risk that a terror act takes place and hurts Americans, whether they're here in the United States or elsewhere in the world as well.
Great. Mr. Secretary, I can't thank you enough for gracing us with your presence today. It was very kind of you to make the trip, and it's deeply appreciated by me and by everyone else here. Please join me in a round of applause.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Let's just say.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe and click that notification bell. Once again, folks, thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell as we cover everything that has to do with politics. We cover the White House, State Department, Congress, and everything else in between when it comes to politics and breaking news. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times, and you visit our website, goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's www.goldenstatetimes.com. And we hope to see you guys here on the next one. But until then, my name is Jen from Golden State Times. Thank you so much to all the Patriots who helped us through Super Chat and through membership. As you guys saw, this live stream was 100% ad-free. There's no advertisements on any of our live streams here on YouTube. We're able to live stream and bring you these events with the help and the support of patriots just like you from all over the country and all over the world. As you guys can see, there's patriots with the Trump hat next to the name in the chat. Those patriots help us bring you guys these live streams. Also, all the patriots that help us through Super Chat, thank you so much for helping us live stream here on YouTube. Thank you so much, folks, and we'll see you very soon. Peace. Oh, and by the way, there's an update when it comes to the State Department website of the President Trump's biography, saying that his term ended today at 7:40 p.m. The State Department is saying that it has, they have found out what's going on. It was an employee, a disgruntled employee that made that edit that was unauthorized. So they're saying they were not hacked. It was an employee that did it, and they're looking into it. They're investigating. But as of right now, they still haven't taken it off. Oh, now they did. They completely took it off now. But they were saying that an employee was the one that did it, unauthorized, and they're looking into it. But they have taken it off. They have taken the site off completely. So we'll give you guys more updates on our Twitter at Gold State Times when the State Department issues another statement. But as of right now, they're saying that it was a disgruntled employee, the one that did it, and that they are fixing it. They have taken it off completely from their site, and they're working on it. So any updates from the State Department, we'll update you guys on our Twitter at Gold State Times. So follow us at Gold State Times and visit our website,